so cold. What is it?
I see you finally made it out of the cave. Where exactly did you find a jacket?
Oh, it was just lying at the entrance to this place along with a bunch of other stuff. Backpack, tools, survival gear, and an old sandwich. Ew, why did I touch that?
That seems off, but it does line up with my calls to the research crew. I'm not getting a single response back from anybody in the area. It's like this place is deserted. Well, look around and see what you can find.
I'm picking up some life on the radar, but it doesn't seem to be making a sound. It's awfully quiet. Well, there are these little ones.
I've heard about these. They're called snowboa, a remnant of when the entire northern mountain was arid and covered in sand. In fact, all the life that survives here had to adapt to a year-long cold weather, and only in a few centuries' time. What caused the shift in climate is something the research group was trying to unravel. And now I wonder where they've gone.
I guess I'll give this a scan and continue looking around. Snowboa. Usually found in groups, they rely on their nimble and playful skating to challenge each other. This will determine which eat from their gathered food first. Man, I guess eating is no joke here. Hold on, I hear something. Sliding, or is it skating? Wait, I see it. I guess skating is right, and I assume it's related to the snowboa.
It sure is. Scan away.
Frostaletta. It skates through its frozen territory, gathering food on its sharp tail. Its frozen legs create slick ice beneath them, even when in warm environments. Seems like even if it used to be in the desert, it's done a good job for itself here in the snow.
But of course, it wasn't always adapted to a life on ice. In fact, ancient rubbings from the nearby ruins revered its diet. Even today, the berries it eats were said to have been blessed with the heart of the fire god. It's pretty neat. The warming properties keep them thriving in the cold.
Ooh, let me give it one. I'll trade a berry for a battle intro. Since this is the first Fakemon outside of the Bug Dragon, I think spending more time talking about the initial design could be valuable. After the vote for the next location, hidden away at the end of our Q&A video, it was decided that we would be going to the ice fields, so that is where we begin our concepts. It will probably be an ice type, which is actually relatively difficult to find variety in from the get-go. A majority of ice types use similar themes, similar color palettes, and similar design motifs. To be safe, we're gonna stick to this base, but the one thing I do know I wanted to do was make it nimble looking, as a lot of ice types are either large, floating, stationary, what have you. Another value to add to my limitations is the concept for the zone that it will take place in. I want there to have been a massive climate and geological shift on the island, driving adaptations and creatures that would otherwise be found in contrasting environments. So, if this is now an icy landscape, let's find inspiration in the desert, the savanna, or the tropics. The jerboa fit perfectly. A desert-dwelling rodent capable of reaching speeds of 15 miles or 24 kilometers per hour, and surprisingly vacant from any Pokemon adaptations as of Sun and Moon. Let's go with that. The initial concept run was mostly for finding the basic elements of a jerboa and ensuring it played into the prominent role. Ears, stubby face, long legs, long tail. Simple. In a suddenly colder climate, I would imagine that the hair would grow out to keep them warm, maybe like a winter coat of sorts. That'll work. For an ice infusion, I felt that all these long extremities could freeze over, becoming icicles and adding sharp, striking elements to the silhouette. Now instead of hopping, it could skate. That's pretty cool. I set aside this initial concept and started fresh from a side view. Let's move out the ears, legs, tail, and make them even longer to stress those elements, and give it a much taller stature. Move the head away from the body and add another smaller ruffle around the neck area to compensate. Give the head a bit more flair with a curved nose, clean brakes, and a fitting eye. Okay, almost done, but it needs hands. Even though Jerboas are T-Rex levels of tiny, I think we should go a different route. Ice dancers often use their arms to great effect in routines, so longer arms should be fitting. Let's fit the paw underneath rather than at the end, kinda like it's peeking out of a warm sweater, and bam, Frostaletta. To make Snowboa, I mainly attributed what I had learned from Frostaletta to the original concept, but with the opposite approach to limb length. Stout legs, a thicker and shorter tail, and unforeseen front limbs that hide beneath the coat. To compensate these elements being taken away, the ears steal the show, and I rounded them off to resemble something like earmuffs, another winter staple to go with the coat motif. And there we go, Snowboa. The modeling process was aided in large part to ZBrush, where I could mash pieces together and then make them single meshes before re-importing into Maya. Oh, and I modeled what I have always called the Sugimori Spike as well, and I used it for a majority of Frostaletta's coat, and it should come in handy later. The Sugimori Spike is what I call the curved peak used on a lot of Pokemon. Seriously, go search up some Pokemon and every gen has a few. You can use them for spikes, yes, but also ears, fur, nails, talons, teeth, patterns, even large segments of the body. Looking at you, Solgaleo. You can't hide it. I see them. The rigging process was fairly straightforward, although this is the first time I had to use IKs while rigging, inverse kinematics, rather than FK, forward kinematics. Forward kinematics is the standard move a joint, everything being controlled moves with it kind of deal. IK is like when you're pushing against a wall. Your entire arm bends at the elbow while your hand stays put. It's especially useful for legs and arms in certain situations. The environment went through much the same process done for the Bug Dragon evolution video. However, this time we have some grass blades painted on and some particle generators for creating snowfall. You can use any mesh for the environment painter in Unreal. It's great. Look, I'm painting little habitats everywhere. Speaking of which, the Arctic habitat consists of about 12 meshes with separate textures, which can be manipulated into a few different uses depending on where you put them. And the best part is, for the next video, I should be able to reuse these assets. Sweet freedom. So that's it for now. We're going to keep an eye out and see what comes out once night falls. Who knows, maybe some new life will emerge. Man, I wish I had a key to one of those habitats. I'm freezing.